Has this been you lately? Are you struggling with doom scrolling, feeling a lack of motivation, a lack of inspiration and creative juices, just feeling a little bit stuck? Well, then this video is for you. From someone who is well experienced in both getting in and out of these, you may be experiencing a rut. By the end of this video, you will have a little menu of tools that you can use to get yourself out of a rut, help a friend out, or help yourself out in the future. While I have organized these in a specific order that I think is most helpful, I encourage you to intuitively pick which one of these match your current energy level and where you're at and will be helpful for you. If you don't already know me, my name is Penny Crisp. I have been obsessed with psychology, intentionality, mindfulness, and self-help from the age of 13. Thankfully, I've learned a lot since then, and that is exactly what this channel is for, to share what I have learned, share what I am learning, provide some helpful tools, insights, wisdom, and hopefully just make life a little bit easier. If this sounds like something you're interested in, I would love for you to join in my journey, our journey, by subscribing. So what is a rut? The literal definition of a rut is a groove that is made in the ground by vehicles driving over it repeatedly. And this physical definition of a rut really works for how we're going to talk about a psychological rut in this video. When we get stuck in the same patterns of thinking over and over again, you can picture that rut in the ground getting deeper and deeper, so it gets kind of easier and easier to drive that way and a bit harder to avoid it. And our goal with this video is essentially to provide one little tool, one thing that can just push your car, push your thought patterns out of that gap so that you break the state of thinking in that same way and hopefully you can feel better. So there are two necessary steps to take before we get into this menu. The first one is to identify that you are in fact in a rut. An important disclaimer to make here is that if you are experiencing any of these symptoms on a difficult to manage or quite large or prolonged level, then I really encourage you to reach out for help. There are links in the description box below to reach out for support. This video is in no way a replacement for clinical or professional help. So some symptoms that you may be experiencing if you are in a rut are a lack of motivation, feeling stuck, feeling like your creative juices aren't flowing, and feeling a bit uninspired. And again, if you are feeling any of these to a difficult to manage level or just feel like you would benefit from support, please check out the links in my description. Now, the second and final completely necessary step before we get into the menu is self-compassion. I want you to keep compassion in mind as we go through these items on the list and make sure that you're not overwhelming yourself with all these things to do, and that it's okay just to start where you're at and just take it easy on yourself. You're doing the best you can, and that is good enough. So our first item on the menu is covering your basics. It is so easy to let the basics slide out from right underneath our noses when we are so in our heads and focusing on other things. Taking care of your basics looks like eating enough, drinking enough water. Have you slept enough? Are you sleeping enough generally? Are there any ways you can help yourself in these areas? Our second item on this menu is time in nature. Mother Nature's natural rhythms and cycles are healing to be a part of, and being in nature is certainly not going to hurt you, unless obviously like snakes. Some studies have found that bird songs are actually regulating to our nervous systems, meaning it gets us out of fight or flight response and into the parasympathetic nervous response, where we are in rest and digest. Essentially, it makes us a bit more relaxed and our body more able to process things, both mentally and physically. So when Dr. Francine Shapiro went for a walk in 1987, it actually inspired what is now known as EMDR, a type of therapy used often in healing from traumatic experiences, because the certain eye movements that we do when we are walking through nature is actually regulating to our nervous system, and alleviated distressing thoughts. Our third item on the menu today is to move your body. So often a huge part of being in a rut is being stuck in your head, and the best way to get out of your head is to feel your way into your body. Something that's really low effort and helps me when I'm struggling is to just put one of my favourite songs on. I Like to Move It from, is it Madagascar 2? I don't know, from one of the Madagascars. You know, I like to move it. I like to play that on my phone to just snap me out of where I'm at. My fabulous friend discovered that hack for me. It's very low effort when you're like already on your phone, doom scrolling, whatever, to just go onto your music app and play a song, but then it really changes your mindset and shifts your mood. Like, it's very hard. It's a challenge to sit and be grumpy when you're listening to I Like to Move It. If you could get out of your rut by now by ending this video and going listening to I Like It to Move It, go do it. My job here is done. Have fun. With playing music, rhythm is really good for you, really good for regulation again, and dancing is just a great way to feel joy, and feeling joy is really breaking the cycle of thinking negatively or struggling. Our next item on the menu is cold water. I had a cold shower before I started filming this video, and it really helped me to kind of boost my energy and wake me up a little bit. And with that said, when I am menstruating or feeling a bit sick or coming down with a bit of a cold, then cold water therapy, meaning going in cold water for anywhere from 30 seconds to 30 minutes, is less beneficial for me. Now, there's a lot of mixed information out there about cold water therapy. A lot of really positive things talking about its dopamine spike, for example, being higher than that of cocaine and lasting something like 4 times the amount. Cold water therapy is a great tool to use intuitively. Sometimes a cold shower is really helpful, and sometimes you're just then sad and cold, and it's okay if that doesn't work for you right now. With all of these tools, activities, they're all made to be intuitively picked from. So some small ways that you can integrate cold water therapy in perhaps an easier way is by putting some ice on your neck or splashing your face with cold water, even just washing your hands with cold water, wet flannel to the face, etc. This again is just a good way to jumpstart that getting out of your head and into your body. Next on the list is phone a friend. Reach out for help, reach out to one of your besties, one of your people who fills your cup. Talking with friends can really help us to process things that are going on, to fill up our cup and inspire us when we get chatting with them about things, and just to shift our energy overall into a bit of a lighter way of thinking, less in our heads and more physically relating and connecting with someone else. And they can even help you with any of the other tools in this video, like you can jump in a lake together, cold water therapy, move your body together, exercise, go for a walk outdoors, you name it. If you can't meet up with a friend or you can't call a friend for some reason, then might I even suggest watching one of your comfort YouTubers and maybe putting a time limit on that so that you don't get stuck in the doom scrolling on your phone phase. Journaling. Wow, I have journaled for the past over a decade now, and I'm only 21, so that's like over half my life. I cannot recommend it enough. The way that I find most helpful for me to journal is to have a little journal on my bedside table, so just an empty notebook, and write whatever comes to my mind, whatever thoughts I am thinking pretty much every morning. Whether that's a shopping list for the day, what dreams I had, what conversation I had that I'm processing or that I don't know how I feel about, or reflecting on my own actions and behaviours, reflecting on what I'm proud of, reflecting on what I would like to do better in the future. This can really help connect you with your inner voice and your inner wisdom, and kind of help tackle that inner critic, I find, because when you write things down and when you write your thoughts down, it's a lot easier to see them for what they are, which is thoughts. They're not you, you are not your thoughts. So it can help create that separation between you and your thoughts. If journaling in an empty notebook seems a little bit intimidating, then there are plenty of journal prompts out there, which are just like questions or prompts for you to think about things that you could then journal about. Another really cool thing you can do with journaling is to write what you feel grateful for. Gratitude is another really great way to get out of the current rut of thinking that you're in. Next up on the menu is to make a plan. Now, perhaps the reason that you're in a rut in the first place, I know for me, and what's very common among people with ADHD, is task paralysis, which is essentially getting overwhelmed by the amount of things you have to do or perceive that you have to do, and feeling paralyzed by all of the things. And then maybe getting a bit avoidant, maybe wanting to stay in bed, maybe trying to avoid it with social media. We have a lot of ways that we can avoid things nowadays. So making a plan can really be a great way to get out of that space and plan all of those things that you want to do. What actually needs doing? What do you actually want to do? What can you say no to and save yourself the time and energy? And what do you want to prioritize? What will make you feel better? And make a plan in your calendar of when you will actually have time and likely will have energy to do those things. This can help us get out of our current rut, and it can also help prevent us from getting in another rut anytime soon by feeling like we can manage all of the things on our plate. Next up on our menu, we have change your environment. Changing your environment can be a great way to support those habits that you are wanting to build, support your plan of things that you do want to do, and help aid yourself in reducing those actions and behaviors that you don't want to partake in. For instance, plugging in your bed by your bedside table. Perhaps you choose to instead move charging your phone to across the room or in the hallway so that you don't have the temptation to go on your phone at bedtime. Or for adding something into your routine, you can put your vitamins and your water glass on your bedside table so that in the morning you see those and it prompts you to take your vitamins with the water that's already there for you. Another action we can take to help clear our space and therefore our minds is to declutter some things. Take away things that no longer serve you, that are just adding to visual clutter. If you have the time and energy, again, all of these things are intuitive, and having easier storage solutions for your things. For instance, instead of hanging up my tops, I have just a drawer box that I put them all in, and I don't fold them, and it's just finding whatever works for you to create the least resistance and the most ease in managing to keep on top of your environment and stuff. One final note on environment is to have nice quotes or images of people you love, things you love and appreciate, things that bring you joy up on the walls. For instance, I love this rainbow. I've got pictures of people I love and little quotes and reminders like this. So yeah, taking away things that don't serve you and maybe adding up some more things that bring you joy and light into your life. Which leads us perfectly onto our next point, which is just do one thing. We all need to start somewhere. We won't accomplish everything at once. We don't need to. We cannot. It is okay. We don't need to do it perfectly. Just take one step. Accomplishing one thing can really make us feel good if we allow ourselves to feel good and feel that accomplishment by doing one task that we've been putting off, like doing the dishes or making our bed, or just accomplishing one thing that we want to do, or doing one thing that sparks joy, like listening to that music, playing a little song, calling a friend, anything just to break state, spark a bit of joy, spark a bit of accomplishment, and get in a new headspace. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you being here. I really hope that this video was helpful. I would love your feedback in the comment section or in the thumbs section about what you like, what you didn't like, what you would like more of. I am sending you so much love and strength, and remember that you are enough, you are good enough, you are loved and appreciated, and you deserve to be here. And I look forward to seeing you in this weekend's video. Bye!